I'm going to make a stand here. I'm going to make a stand. Fahrenheit is better than Celsius. And I know people can be like, no, it's not. You're wrong. Okay, dude? I'm conceding all the other metric systems, but Fahrenheit is better. But Fahrenheit doesn't tell you the freezing point of water, and it's not useful outside of any blah, 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 blah. Why the fuck do I need to know whether or not it's the freezing point of water outside? I need to know whether or not I need to take a jacket, not whether or not it's the freezing point of water. And I'm sorry, for Celsius, you have like a 30-degree range or like 40, 50-degree range. It's a smaller range, so it's harder to like pinpoint the temperature. A scale of 0 to 100 for temperature is just fucking good. It's just really good. Like you see that it's 80, it's like 80 on a scale of 100 of hotness. Cool. I don't need to wear that much. Oh, it's 10 on a degree of 100. It's cold outside. You know? It's a better system. It's literally a better system. I'm literally willing to say grams are better, milliliters are better. Basically every single centimeters, inches are stupid. All of these metrics are dumb. But Fahrenheit is just, it's a human-centric system. It is a better system for figuring out how cold or hot it is outside. I'm not saying Celsius is difficult to understand, Chad. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Fahrenheit has more range and it's more applicable for your day-to-day use. You could learn Celsius. Lots of people learn Celsius. Celsius is fine. But Fahrenheit, for the purpose of rating temperature outside, Fahrenheit is better. Obviously, you would use Celsius for literally everything else. But Fahrenheit, for the purpose of like what the weatherman is telling me, Fahrenheit is better. It's better, okay? Don't get canceled for liking Fahrenheit over Celsius, please. It's fine. I will get canceled for that, all right? I don't care. Bro, but this is a dumb scale. Well, in Celsius, 0 degrees Celsius freezes, 100 Celsius degrees boils blood. Pretty simple. Why the fuck do I need to know? I have bigger problems to deal with if it's 100 degrees Celsius outside. That is a useless metric for me. As a human being, if it's 100 degrees Celsius, I'll just die. I'll just fucking die, dude. Like, hello? Fahrenheit was literally designed so that operating temperature for humans is better represented in measurements. Anyone who thinks I'm wrong, by the way, is wrong. Like, here, look, I will look it up for you guys, okay? Look, okay, it's talking about Fahrenheit. It's a temperature scale based on one proposed in 1724 by physician Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit. It uses degree Fahrenheit as a unit. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, the original paper suggests the lower defining point, 0 Fahrenheit, was established as the freezing temperature of a solution of brine from a mixture of water, ice, ammonium chloride, salt. The other limit established was his best estimate of the human body temperature. Originally set at 90 degrees, then 96 Fahrenheit, about 2.6 Fahrenheit less than the modern value system due to a later redefinition of the scale. It's literally a human-based system. If you like Celsius more, you're just a fucking nerd, okay? I don't know how to explain it to you. Fahrenheit it's made so that you can understand what temperature it is outside. Look, with Fahrenheit, okay, the scale is like 0 to 100, okay? 0 degrees, 100 degrees, okay? Right? Obviously, if it goes past either of these, it's really fucking cold or it's really hot. If it's above 100 degrees, you're fucked. If it's lower than 0 degrees, you're fucked. It's really hot or it's really cold, okay? And then we have like 50 degrees, which honestly is like kind of chilly. Depends on where you're from. Like 50 degrees is bearable if you have like a jacket. And then like 75 degrees is like perfect, nice temperature outside. You know, for me anyways, I like the heat. Whereas like, and then, oh, sorry, excuse me, not whereas. And then here we have like 25 degrees Celsius. 25 degrees Celsius is decently cold. Celsius is a fucking stupid metric for the purpose of measuring the temperature outside. Okay? For the purpose of measuring the temperature outside. What is it? The scale is from like negative 30 to 30 is like where like livability is. But the problem is that like 0 degrees Celsius, what is that in Fahrenheit? $32 degrees in Okay, so it's cold. Do you notice how I have to look up Celsius to Fahrenheit? Fahrenheit, you can intuit. You don't need someone to like translate. You can intuit it. Whereas Celsius, you had to learn it. You had to learn Celsius. You can intuit Fahrenheit. Because you're like, oh, 100 is really hot and 0 is really cold. Anyways, I'm right. Okay? I'm totally right. And I will find a video of a man explaining it to chat so you guys can agree with me. All right? You guys like Veritesium?
Why does water freeze at 32 degrees? Why that integer? And what exactly does 0 represent? According to many sources, the Fahrenheit scale was defined by setting 0 degrees equal to the temperature of an ice, salt, and water mixture, and 100 degrees being roughly equal to human body temperature. But that isn't true. The real story is much more interesting and scientific. In 1708, possibly seeking help with a warrant, Fahrenheit met with the mayor of Copenhagen, who happened to be the famous astronomer Ole Romer. Romer is known for observing the eclipses of Jupiter's moons and realizing that variations in the timing of those eclipses was caused by the time it took light to reach Earth. In 1702, Romer was housebound after breaking his leg, and to pass the time, he devised a brand new temperature scale with the freezing point of water at 7.5 degrees and body temperature at 22.5 degrees. Now, this might seem odd until you consider that Romer wanted the boiling point of water to be 60 degrees. As an astronomer, he had experience dividing things by 60. So if you take this scale, divide it in half again, and in half once more, you find the freezing point of water 1/8 up the scale and human body temperature 3/8 up the scale. So at their meeting in 1708, Fahrenheit learned of Romer's temperature scale
and disgusting.
And adopted it as his own, adjusting it slightly because he found it inconvenient and inelegant on account of the fractional numbers. So he scaled them up to 8 and 24. And this is the original Fahrenheit scale. But then, at some later point, Fahrenheit multiplied all numbers on his scale by 4, setting freezing point to the now familiar 32 and body temperature to 96. It's unclear exactly why he did this. He may just have wanted finer precision in his measurements. But I think there was a better reason. You see, Fahrenheit was an excellent instrument maker. His thermometers agreed with each other precisely at a time when that was unheard of. He pioneered the use of mercury as a measuring liquid, which has the benefit of a much higher boiling point than the alcohol.
This is our king. What do you guys have? Well, who's the guy who made Celsius? Some fucking loser in a fucking trench coat? Look, this is our king. He was making instruments that worked. In the 1700s, okay? They didn't even know about germ theory back then, okay?
Used in most other thermometers at the time. And for these accomplishments, he was inducted into the British Royal Society. And we know that he read the works of Newton, Boyle, and Hooke, in which he would have come across the idea that a 1-degree increase in temperature could correspond to a specific fractional increase in the volume of the measuring liquid. And today, a 1-degree Fahrenheit increase in temperature increases the volume of mercury by exactly 1 part in 10,000. Is this just a coincidence? Well, we'll probably never know for sure because, as an instrument maker, Fahrenheit was very secretive about his methods. But I think the data strongly suggests that this was the case. So what exactly did 0 represent on the scales of Fahrenheit and Romer? By many accounts, it's the temperature of a salt, ice, and water mixture. The only problem is there are different descriptions of these mixtures, and none of them actually produces the temperature they're supposed to. More likely, I think they picked the coldest temperature in winter, set that as 0, and later used ice and brine to calibrate new thermometers. In his day, the Fahrenheit thermometer was the best you could get. But now his scale is only used regularly in the Cayman Islands, Bahamas, Belize, and the United States of America.
Amen! USA!
So maybe it's time we all adopted the global scale of temperature. Celsius. Which, by the way, wasn't invented by Celsius at all.
Hey.
Hi, Veritesium. Hi. Big fan of the channel. Anyways, yeah. All right. I'm going to say one thing. Okay. This is the last thing on this topic, and we're moving on. Last thing, and we're moving on. I am capable of recognizing the faults in the US and the systems we use. I am capable of recognizing that milliliters are a better metric. I'm capable of recognizing that centimeters are a better metric. I'm capable of recognizing that grams are a better metric. Okay? It is very clear that I am not biased. I am capable of recognizing that we use other systems that aren't good. But to all the losers in chat who are like, Celsius is better, Celsius is better, Celsius is better. Show me one thing that you actually like that isn't the system that you grew up with. Because I'm going to be honest, if you like everything from the system you grew up with, you might be a little biased. Yes, this is the point that I'm trying to make, okay? This is the point that I'm trying to make. Celsius is less intuitive IMO because there's less room for fine adjustment. 20 degree Fahrenheit and 25 are close in temp. 20 degrees Celsius and 25 degrees Celsius are really spaced out. Yes, it's a better metric for telling people what the temperature is outside. It is. All right. All right. But if you guys are capable of pointing out one thing that you guys like that isn't what you grew up with, I will take your word. But if you guys are like, I like everything that I grew up with, you're biased, bro. You're literally biased. All right? Imagine wanting to use decimals in your fucking temperature system. Oh, what temperature is it outside? 25.54. Totally normal, good system, by the way. Totally normal, good system. Celsius be like, on a scale of 0 to 100, how cold is this water? I think base number 12 is better than base number 10 by a lot. So you like inches then and feet, right? If you think base number 12s are good, then you like feet, right? And like yardsticks and stuff? You wouldn't tell me that you like meters, right? Right? Look at the cap in chat. Look at the cope. Look at the cope in chat. Look at him. Look at him. That's not the same thing. Oh, so base 12 is good except for when Americans are using it. Fucking, you're such a joke, bro. You're such a loser, man. You're such a loser, chatters. Not any person in specific, but I'm just saying, okay? I feel like people can't explain why Celsius is better other than it's what they grew up with. I heard a similar argument about metric versus imperial, which is one of them. It's just every single argument that they use is bullshit. Base 10 is better. Base 10 is way better. Base 10 is the reason that I like Fahrenheit. It's also the reason I like centimeters and milliliters. Base 10 is fucking goated. Okay? This answers in progress vid had your back. FR, are you joking or are you serious? Are you J or are you SRS?
I am really bad at dressing for the weather. So the other day, the Celsius
That was like 4 ads in a row. That was the most choppy experience of my life. Okay.
Fahrenheit debate reemerged on my Twitter timeline, and it hit all the usual beats. But as somebody who's been firmly Team Celsius all these years, yes, I'm Canadian, I sometimes wonder, is Fahrenheit actually better? I think the problem is that I am really bad at guessing the weather. This is the hottest day, I am so sweaty, and I am absolutely convinced that it is 40 degrees. It's 26. There's like this fundamental disconnect in my brain between this number and this feeling, which means that when I get dressed in the morning, I often pick the wrong clothes.
Wait, this is true as fuck. Twitch viewer 1234. This is true as fuck. I'm English and I hate the way a car's efficiency is measured in miles per gallon, yet the fuel is sold in liters. I will admit miles is a more, like, this is one place where I'm biased. I do prefer miles in a car because my brain just knows miles. But miles are probably a worse metric.
Obviously, if it's like extreme temperatures, I can usually figure it out.
Kilometers
but it's
are probably
those
better.
in-between temperatures, like 12 degrees Celsius. What does that mean? So my hypothesis is that Celsius does a bad job at communicating temperature intuitively. Now, the Fahrenheit squad claims to have solved this problem, and I think it has something to do with brine. Is this good? Now, this might be a galaxy brain move, but I think to figure this out, I need to learn how temperature was invented. Back in 300 BCE, people believed that hot and cold were two distinct metrics. Temperature as we know it didn't exist.
Oh, yeah.
If something felt
Remember when people thought cold was something instead of just the absence of heat? Losers, fucking morons.
warm, it was warm. If it felt cold, it was cold. But we know that sensations can be inconsistent. Like how after a cold winter, 10 degrees may feel warm, but in the middle of summer, You might need a sweater. Or like how two people in a room can feel totally different depending on their build, metabolism, or even menstrual cycle. It was only in the early 1600s when scientists really began to use math.
Also, Chad, I've unironically loving the science arc. I used to be a really big insufferable science nerd. Not a lot of people know this lore. But I ended up taking like one chemistry class that I didn't like. And I was like, you know what? I'll just be a math nerd. I don't need to be a science and a math nerd. But I was a huge science nerd. I was a fucking dweeb. Chad, I had like straight A's until I got like senioritis. And then I was like, don't used to be me, okay? I'm a changed person. I'm a gamer now, okay? Better, stronger.
And machines to separate sensation from science. So the quest to capture temperature as we know it had finally begun. Early thermometers were poorly designed and inconsistently calibrated, leading to two big problems. You couldn't rely.
Hi, Scootish. That's Cope. What the fuck? No. Science nerd, yet stands Fahrenheit curious. Listen, motherfucker, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you guys in the parking lot, in the Denny's parking lot, okay? Pay attention to the video. Everybody, all right? I would never say gamer is better than something else. Look, listen, all right? Look. I didn't have a lot of things going for me as a kid, okay? Gamer was the best title I had.
On the same thermometer to give you the same reading for the same temperature. And it was difficult to compare with others who were using different thermometers. Daniel Gabriel Fahrenheit tackled consistency by using mercury, leading to more stable results compared to other options. However, he used a scale with calibration points that were difficult to recreate, leaving
I don't know how to feel about the eyeballs.
comparability unsolved. Luckily, around the same time, other scientists were emphasizing reproducible calibration points, including Anders Celsius, who suggested the phase transitions of water, which only made sense because of the discovery that water purity impacted freezing points. And maybe it was the convenience this discovery brought, or some other reason, but
why is the video paused?
the French chose to adopt Celsius into their metric system, which carried it across the globe, except for these places. So what's the best temperature scale? Unsurprisingly, it depends. Fahrenheit is probably the most intuitive when it comes to the weather because most of us are already familiar with a 0 to 100 scale. So if you pretend that 0 degrees Fahrenheit is like one of the coldest days you've experienced, and 100 degrees Fahrenheit is one of the hottest days.
To be clear, Celsius is better for like cooking, okay? And it's better for science. Like if you're doing science, Celsius is better.
You've experienced. You get this logical.
Oh, is there an ad break? Let's wait for the people in ad purgatory. I don't want them to miss this part. This is the part where they're going to get proven wrong. So wait. We're going to wait for them, okay? We're going to wait for them. America actually uses Celsius for pretty much everything that matters. Yeah, because Celsius is a better scientific metric. Okay.
You get this logical bridge between a number and how you might actually feel. Celsius is probably the best for communication because almost everyone uses it. If you're traveling and talking about the weather, chances are you'll be better understood if you say 18 degrees Celsius over 65 degrees Fahrenheit. So if we're looking for the best measure to tell us how we'll feel, should we use Fahrenheit or Celsius? Trick question! None of the above. Because temperature as a concept was created explicitly to remove sensation from the equation. Which is probably why your weather app might look like this, or this, or this. They may vary in levels of detail, but they all carry key metrics beyond just temperature that can impact how you feel outdoors.
That's why it'll be like 25, but feels like 15 degrees because it's really windy.
The most important ones I've found are temperature,
5th of May.
wind, precipitation, humidity, and solar intensity. Temperature offers a magnitude that we can treat as a starting point. Wind and precipitation can make us feel colder than the temperature suggests by carrying away the heat generated by our body. But humidity can make us feel warmer by making it more difficult to evaporate our sweat. Finally, the sun is hot, so being in the sun makes us feel hot. Do you like this educational content? Anyway, I get all of that in concept.
Dude, she's just like me. She's just like me for real.
The problem is that I still don't know how to use it. At a dead end, I decided it was time to talk to other people to see how they solved this problem. But I quickly realized it wasn't a problem anyone else had.
You just look at the big number. You see this big number?
If it's sunny and cold, I'm still happy-ish. But if it's warm and wet, then that's like a totally different.
You just look at that number.
Will I die from hypothermia? No. Will I die from heat stroke? No. We're fine.
I don't even think people who live here in the US who grew up with Fahrenheit particularly like Fahrenheit. It's just what we all learned.
As soon as
Silence!
it got up to 100 and I experienced it, it's like, oh yeah, okay, 100's really hot.
We relate it to past experiences when it's been 10 degrees. We know what that feels like.
Part of the problem is that you don't have a commute. Because when you're commuting in the morning, checking the weather is part of your routine and you have to kind of dress accordingly to walk to the train station.
So the problem isn't Celsius.
No!
And the fact that I don't have enough experience going outside.
No!
So here's the plan. Go outside, record the weather,
No.
track how comfortable I feel, and use that data to figure out whether I should wear pants or shorts. You know, the stuff everyone else learned when they were 12.
Right, and Fahrenheit is really good, and Celsius is not great for temperature outside. Well, thank you guys so much for watching my YouTube video. My name is Answer in Progress. Nice to see you guys all. Sorry, my name is Sabrina. Sorry to see you guys. And thank you so much. Look, I'm talking very passionately about things relating to. Anyways, Denims is right. Wow, that was such a good video. Oh my god. I hope we watch more content like that. That was so good. That was so good. That was an amazing video. She was straight spinning, especially at the end there. Wow.